Marilyn dead? Good! Finish! Barbara! She fainted!
That was a scene from Shear Madness that asked the audience to find a murderer in a hair salon. This month marks the murder mystery comedy's 40th anniversary in Boston, a record that's placed it in the Guinness Book of World Records as the longest-running play in American history. Since opening at the Charles Playhouse in 1980, it's played cities around the world, has drawn some 13 million patrons, and grossed almost $300 million. I recently sat down with the pair who started it all. Marilyn, Abrams, Bruce Jordan, thank you so much for being here. Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
40 years.
Having us.
Well, Marilyn, I'll start with you. I'm sure you, at this point, after 40 years, you can distill it into 15 seconds. But how do you describe the show to the uninitiated?
Well, I said now we are immersive, and interactive, which weren't even words when we opened, and that's what it is. Everybody is part of the fun, and it's different every night, and there's a mystery, and you have to figure out who done it. How'd I do? Was I quick enough?
That's good and quick. Well, how did you figure out, as you say, immersive is a word we know now, but not when you created this piece. What made you think this is going to work? We're going to, because it really is kind of two plays. It shifts at one point, and then the audience becomes part of it, and then it just takes off on this whole other level.
Folks, you all witnessed what went on in this shop a little while ago, okay? And now, well, now I'm going to need your help.
At what point did you decide that this is something you wanted to try that would work?
Well, Bruce showed me a rough draft of it. And frankly, I read it, and I thought to myself, how do I get out of here? I just can't imagine it. But we had worked together before.
Well, wait, why did you want to get out of it?
Because there was nothing to read. It was a skeleton kind of thing, but...
it was all improv back then, totally improv.
And... but there were good parts for both of us, and I knew Bruce was a wonderful director. I really respected him. And so I said, well, okay.
Is there something fundamental to the audience, to the role they play, or do you really have to be on guard every night because anything could happen?
Anything can happen.
Okay, wait, what are you saying? I'm sorry.
They like chit-chat over there, and then they kiss.
They kissed? Wait, he kissed you tomorrow?
No, he didn't. Oh, no, he didn't. Oh, no, he didn't.
What they ask you has an actual outcome of in the evening.
Well, to be scientific for a moment, I think this is fascinating. I'm a very curious person about eyewitness testimony anyway, and especially in, not to go way off topic, but knowing how much eyewitness testimony matters in judicial trials and the wrongly convicted. And this is a case where you see how observant people are. And so your cast has to be responsible of that, of how astute somebody might actually be that they're not prepared for.
Absolutely, and it's a play, as you say, totally about perception. And in the same audience, two people can perceive one actor's movements absolutely differently. And that leads to some comedy on its own. But it's amazing because it is a study in fact, it was originally used as a study to how people remembered the events immediately after a crime. And it always makes me thankful that so far I haven't committed a crime because actually it has nothing to do with the facts. It all has to do with the perception.
Well, what have been some of the most outrageous things that have happened in the 40 years of Shear Madness?
Well, we have a number of them. It really becomes its own reality. I was playing Barbara DeMarco, the manicurist, and there's an appointment book, and we speak to the audience during the intermission, and I wrote down an appointment in the book for a woman to come in and get a haircut. The next day, she called the box office to say she was sorry, but she couldn't make the appointment.
That's incredible. Well, you also work in very topical humor.
Are you wish to speak to us now? I don't know, I feel like Joe Biden. I mean, I have so much to say, but shut up! You're winning! Stop!
Early on in the show, you had jokes about OJ, and now you have jokes about Joe Biden and the political climate. How do you keep on top of today and make it funny?
You know what? The actors do it. After they've been in the show for a little while, They understand that each day they're going to come in with what's important that day. And as soon as they think that enough people in the world know about this thing, they figure out how they can weave it into the fabric of the play. And I think that's the thing that keeps it eternally fresh.
Well, thinking about all contemporary things, is Trump funny? Or does that cross the line at this point because it's so controversial?
There's so much about Trump that we have to limit it to 2 a night.
It's too
That's
easy.
It's too easy, but we don't want to mislead you because everything doesn't work. And there's a little secret about backstage in Boston. There's a diagram of anchors and what an actor may have thought was very funny and put in that night. And if it's a sinker, it goes back to be historically never repeated.
Well, it must
But
be.
we are equal opportunity offenders.
Oh my God, Mrs. Schubert, you look like Bernie Sanders.
Well, how is this? I understand that this has grossed almost $300 million in 40 years. How has it changed your lives?
I don't know, we're still working.
Well, one of the ways that it's changed my life is we've certainly traveled all over the world with the play and to get new productions of the play, which has been a great joy. And to see the play on stage in Tel Aviv or to see the play on stage in Buenos Aires is amazing. And our first production was in Barcelona in 1987, and it was like, watching this little baby that you nurtured along all of a sudden in a new language was...
Well, and do you make it local for when you travel?
Yes.
Oh,
So
yeah, yep. It's in that language and in that locale.
It's local wherever it is.
Oh, I love this Patriots blouse you're wearing.
Oh, yeah. No, it's my favorite blouse. Are you a fan?
Oh, yeah, I love the Patriots. Go Patriots!
Finally, as you look back at this and you consider 40 years, what are you most proud of in having this very long run and knowing how audiences have embraced it?
I'm proud. I really am proud of the fact that we're able to show people such a good time. That people come in, we have a lot of people who tell us afterward, they'll say, gee, I had something sad happen, and I won't go into the various things, but they said, you took my mind off of this. I came here, and for 2 hours I laughed and really had fun, and that's really very, very rewarding.
And I'm very proud of that, and I'm also proud of all the actors who have homes and condos and cars and insurance because of Shear Madness.
You do great things in the world. Bruce Jordan, Marilyn, Abrams, again, congratulations on 40 years of Shear Madness. It's been great to have you here.
Thank you
Thanks
so much, Jared.
Jared.